Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are so glad that you are here, and I would like to be the first to welcome you to this Help Moms Be Heroes webcast for Guiding Star in Tampa Bay. We are responding to the motherhood crisis, breaking chains and restoring triumph. And I am excited to be here with you as part of the Guiding Star Project, board of directors at the national level, as well as the executive director of Guiding Star Southwest in El Paso, Texas. As well as somehow I have ended up on the board of directors for Guiding Star Tampa Bay, and I could not be more excited because there are such amazing things happening there as we continue to work together to develop the best standard of care for moms and for women. And this is really important to me. You might be thinking, why is this guy on this webcast talking about motherhood and childbirth for birth centers? And this is really important, not only for me and my journey alongside my wife through our journeys with fertility and childbirth and pregnancy loss, and as well as getting to deliver my sixth baby just a couple years ago. And so as well as really feeling that this is important for really getting to the root of building a culture of life. Because really, as I've always said, I do not believe we are going to ever see a true reverence for life until we have reverence for the life bearer. And so I would like to start us off with a quick opening prayer. If you join me in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Lord God, we just thank you for coming together today. We ask you to bless this event, our technology, all of our speakers, to speak truth, to share wisdom, to share experiences, to touch hearts, to change minds, as we come together for this amazing opportunity to support more moms in such a profound way that I really believe nobody else is tackling these difficult and critical issues as you have called us together, even from the fruit of holy matrimony, the word itself, matrimony, meaning the office of motherhood, coming together to have children. And so this is so beautiful, and just bless this time. And we ask all of this through the precious blood of your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. We especially pray too for St. Teresa of Lisieux, to ask her to pray for us on her feast day today, as well as the first day of Reverence for Life, Respect Life Month. And like I said, I believe that this is very critical because it's really important. What a lot of people don't realize is that over 60% of women who have abortions in the United States of America, this is according to one of the latest reports from the CDC, reporting on this particular topic of research, over 60% of women report that the women having abortions already have children. Okay, it's not, a lot of times you think of women having abortions, these are young teenage crisis pregnancies, those certainly exist, but most of these women are moms. Okay, this means that these are moms who, if they've seen ultrasounds before, they've felt their babies kicked. This is not something that is just made lightly or in ignorance. It's often a response to fear, to trauma. As we've talked to women, oftentimes it's because of former birth trauma that they've been through, postpartum struggles, and just feeling like they can't go through this again. They don't have the support, they don't have the energy, they don't have the capability. Many of these moms have already felt the joy and responsibility of raising children, but something in the system, something that we are doing as a country has been failing motherhood. And this is what we talk about when we say that we are facing a motherhood crisis. It's not a failure of our moms, it's a failure of our system to truly walk alongside and give the moms the support that they need. And that is what we mean when we say we have to restore their triumph in face of this trauma. At Guiding Star, we believe that choosing life is really only the beginning. It's not enough just to show a mother her baby on an ultrasound and then tell her that she has to choose life, and then kind of send her out the doors to navigate this rest of this journey by herself. We have to walk with her every step of the way. If we're asking her not to choose abortion, we are asking her to choose going through prenatal care and childbirth and postpartum struggles and support. So she needs to know that her experience is safe, it is empowering, it will be life affirming, because when we do this, when we ensure that birth becomes a triumph and not a trauma, we reduce the likelihood that a mother will face that same fear and despair in her next pregnancy, and that is so critical. We've seen so many times women, who we've helped to embrace that choice for life, but if she was referred out and had a difficult and traumatic birth experience, it's the subsequent pregnancy she's ending up back at the abortion centers, and that is a tragedy. This is why we are really excited, making a big announcement later this evening of something that our Guiding Star centers are doing, and is going to be launching there at Guiding Star Tampa, which is something I think that no other organization has been able to do to really ensure that every mom can experience the support and the care that she truly deserves. So we're going to jump right in. And tonight, our very first guest will show us how this looks in practice and why this approach is not only compassionate, but it is transformational. And so I would like to invite one of my favorite people, Mrs. Tammy, onto the webcast. And Tammy is an amazing CNM who, I have to admit, I have tried to steal her away from Tampa to help us in El Paso, and she has continued to insist that women in Tampa also need help, which I guess is true. I will admit it. So, Tammy, first of all, thank you for joining and for everything that you do. I was just talking a little bit about how over 60%, a majority of the women who are having abortions, they're already mothers. They already have children. So, from your experience, how much does previous birth trauma contribute to a mom feeling that I can't do this again?
Well, Mark, thank you for having me, and I love you as well, and I would steal you down here. So um, that statistic, it's heartbreaking, but it's true. Many of these women, they're not rejecting motherhood, but they're reacting to the fear and the pain from their previous experiences. Traumatic births or lack of support, feeling unheard, disrespected, can lead to really lasting emotional and physical scars. When they get pregnant again, it can feel like walking into the same storm all over again. And many women, that's their first reaction is, I can't do this again.
Right. And I guess, what are some of the most common ways that this trauma shows up? And I guess, why do so many women feel unprepared and unsupported?
Well, trauma shows up in a variety of ways, fear, anxiety, distrust of medical providers, even physical tension. We've had people that have had traumatic births that they can't progress in labor. They get stalled, 6, 7, 8 centimeters, and they won't progress until we really have a heart to heart and tell them that they are loved, they are cared for, they are safe. That's the biggest thing, that they're safe. So, what causes this type of stuff? They feel isolated once they leave the hospital. There's little guidance or care. Um, they don't know who's going to walk alongside of them to ensure that they're safe, seen, and capable of this, because they've never had that with their previous birth, and so they don't know where to find that.
Right. You know, Sometimes when I've talked about this with other people, and I start talking about birth trauma, a lot of women who have been through birth trauma, I think maybe haven't even realized it, and it's just kind of become perceived as the norm. And so what's going on? Like, how has kind of, I guess, traditional healthcare systems, unintentionally led to this point and, added to this trauma?
It's so true. I just helped one of my granddaughters have a baby in the hospital, and unintentionally, intentionally, hospitals are a business, and they operate on efficiency protocols, not for the individual needs of the mother, but for the institution. And so everything that they do is to get that baby out as quick as possible so that they could turn the beds around. And what does that mean? That means that they're doing many interventions that aren't physiological, not a normal process of birth. Sometimes, yes, they're needed, but not to the detriment of the mom. And so when you start doing these interventions, it rushes labor. There's a lack of continuity and care that can unintentionally traumatize these women. And it's not that providers are uncaring, it's just that they're caught up in these systems that really prioritize speed over the emotional and psychological um, well-being of the mom.
Right. And one thing I always want to point out to people too is, we're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater there. The level of acute care that for, higher risk pregnancies is absolutely necessary at hospitals. But I think a lot of times when, low risk pregnancies go in, when you're a hammer, everything looks is a nail, and so what is it that can be done differently to ensure that every mom has the opportunity to feel safe and supported and empowered during her pregnancy and especially her childbirth?
Sure. Well, I mean, that's a great question because that's exactly why birth centers like Guiding Star exist. We prioritize their individual care, educating, empowering women, surrounding them with a team that truly walks with them. And we listen to them. That's big. When they come in, one of my first questions at their new OB visit is, tell me about your last birth. What brings you here? So that I can address any traumas that can be there. That way we can increase their confidence, and really transform their experience, from fear to triumph. I mean, watching these moms just overcome that is amazing, and every mom deserves to feel like a hero in her own story. It's so important.
That gives me goosebumps. And so, when we use this slogan of helping moms be heroes, I can't think of anything. We've been through 6 childbirths now. Our first was very traumatic, for my wife and for myself. And so we sought midwifery care for our others, and they were just the most amazing and heroic and strongest and just empowering moments I've ever seen my wife, especially this last one where we kind of unexpectedly ended up, helping deliver the baby a little early before the midwife arrived. But it was just the most just raw joy and just intimate moment of our whole marriage. It was just amazing. So, what are some specific examples from your perspective of how birth is different at a Guiding Star birth center?
So we really empower the women to make this their experience, and it's all about education. Um, that means that we talk to them about their options. We tell them risks, benefits, alternatives, so that they can really feel like they're doing it the way that is best for them. And that is so important because they're not going to get that empowerment if they feel like we're not a team. And it's so important in the birth center to be a team, to listen to the mom, to listen to what she says, to listen to how she wants to do it, and just support her in that the best we can.
Oh, go ahead, Tammy. You were
Yep.
saying
Oh,
support her the best way.
in the best way that we can. That's the most important, to do
Yeah,
our best to support the women how they want to do it.
yeah, absolutely. Um, that's so amazing. And so, Tammy, thank you for coming on and joining. Thank you for all the work that you do. It's so crucial to just really. I mean, I even think of having been through the obstetrical model of care, which is critical and necessary, but then which kind of is like this is a trauma. This is a problem that we need to intervene and help with, and there's times where it is. But then we've also gone through the midwifery model of care, and the attitude was more of like, you were built to do this, like this is your moment. Right, like literally,
Absolutely.
and the scene how the difference of kind of that approach has even really affected the identity of my wife, and consequently me and how I could support her and our marriage. So the work that you do goes so just unappreciated, I think, by many people, because it's instrumental for family, it's instrumental for marriage, and life. I mean, it's you're right there. So thank you again. And I'm really excited at this point to move on to our next guest. And so from the Loretto Wellness, I'm really excited to bring on Bridget Tabaldi. And so, Bridget, you do some amazing work, and I actually really want to spend more time unpacking this and exploring it. You help women recover from difficult births, and I'm so glad that this is something that people are now acknowledging, and talking about. And I wish that we had someone to turn to, 16 years ago almost now, when we went through our first difficult birth for my wife, and then consequently for myself, not knowing how to support her during that. How does previous birth trauma really shape a mother's feelings about pregnancy and birth?
Yeah, so thanks so much for having me. And it really is so profound. And so studies, and these numbers aren't super well known, but they're really real. So
Okay.
studies estimate that between 25 to 45% of women report their birth as traumatic in the US and Canada, and up to 9% end up developing full-blown PTSD. That's an insane amount. And so this means that, rounding, nearly 1 in 3 moms are walking away from birth with really deep physical, emotional, and spiritual wounds. And that's not only going to affect how they approach future pregnancies, but it's going to affect how they approach their everyday life. Because again, if you have a major spiritual wound, that's going to affect your relationship with God. If you have a major emotional wound, that's going to affect your relationship with your husband or with your kids, even. And so, one thing to note too is that trauma doesn't always look like a medical emergency. So sometimes it's feeling silenced, feeling rushed, feeling stripped of dignity. And women often describe not necessarily what happened to them, but how they were treated. And so that's like whether they were listened to, whether they were respected, whether they were supported. So basically, when a mom goes to face pregnancy again, the brain will actually remember the quote threat that it went through before. And their nervous system is stuck in that like fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And so it truly is not just like the mom is nervous, it really is a biological response to help protect her because she doesn't feel safe.
Okay, this is the first time we've spoken at length, and we need to schedule long calls afterwards, because I'm just like so grateful that I like I've there's so much that I've kind of sensed, and just my instincts have told me, and working with the clients that we've reached out to. We have one story that I always share where with one of our sister organizations was reaching out to women who felt they had no choice but abortion, referred them to our Guiding Star Center. She felt like she now had the support to choose parenting. She had her baby. She comes back a year later. She's with her husband, and they have their beautiful little boy with them. But they're pregnant again, and we come to find out they have another abortion scheduled. And and long story short, the husband basically said, "We can never have more than this one child because I can never put my wife through that again." The experience was so traumatic. In their case, they were like still paying off the medical bills. They were like, "This is it." When we showed them the midwifery model of care, how we were expanding the work through Guiding Star, not only did they change their mind and choose parenting for their second child, they actually said, if this level of care is actually available to us, we actually want to have 5 more babies.
Oh,
Like
that's
they went from
amazing.
they went from like one and done to like we want 5 or 6 kids, but it was because of the childbirth care.
Yep.
And so that sense though, that like the husband saying, I can't put my wife through this again, a lot of women saying, I just can't do this again, I'm overwhelmed. Can you give us like a real life example of what this might look like?
Yeah, for sure. So I had a mom who she had her first baby, and with her first baby, she delivered him preterm. So I believe it was about 35, 36 weeks. Now, note he was about 7 pounds. So he was, who knows if her dates were correct or not, it doesn't matter. But she remembers feeling so mistreated and like she wasn't listened to because she went into the hospital because she was in labor. They allowed her to labor, again, quote, allowed her to labor. And she eventually got to about 8 or 9 centimeters, and then labor stalled. And so when that labor stalled, they did all the fear mongering and told her that her baby was going to die and all the things. And so she eventually was like, fine, just do a C-section if that's what it's going to take. And so she had this really traumatic C-section because he was preterm. He had to go to the NICU for days, and she wasn't able to see him because she was recovering from her own surgery. And it was just, yeah, unfortunately, it's a very common story that I hear, especially not being able to see their baby in the first few days of life is really, really, really hard. And so she comes, talks to me. Her baby is about 18 months old or so, and she really wants to get pregnant again. but she is, quote, like advanced maternal age. And so they're already saying like it's going to be really difficult. It's probably not going to happen. Mind you, she's 35 years old. And so what's interesting is that her progesterone was super low. Her body was just saying like, can't do it. Like, can't get pregnant. I can't support a pregnancy. She had multiple miscarriages before we worked together. And once we started doing a lot of the nervous system work and training her body that everything was okay, what ended up happening was that she stopped focusing so much on the progesterone numbers and started really focusing on like her stress, her sleep, like all the things that your body actually needs in order to be super like fertile. And she ended up conceiving. And so amazingly, we continued to work together. She went through her entire pregnancy up to 40 weeks and had a beautiful baby at home, no complications at all. And it really was all because of the work that she did, because she knew that before she didn't have the education. She just kind of allowed people to say whatever they wanted to say, and she just went with it because she didn't feel safe enough to speak up. And then the second time around, she was like, no, like I'm doing it my way because this is going to be what's going to allow my baby to be born in the safest possible way. And so that really is a story that I've thankfully been able to walk with women time and time again. And it's so powerful when you can see how they can really step into their own power when you just give them simple tools of like, let's get your nervous system like back in rest and digest so that you're not in this fight or flight all the time. Like, let's get you sleep. Let's get you rest, support, nutrition. That's all so important.
You know, it just struck me as you were talking about, especially when, and again, there's times where it's necessary, but oftentimes is unnecessarily defaulted to for, you know, convenience or other factors. But, you know, when sometimes with a unnecessary cesarean section, when those moms are denied, you know, how did you word it? Not being able to see their baby in those first few days.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That I remember how that impacted my wife. And I just heard a reflection too on how, you know, we consider oftentimes the birth of the church was, you know, the cross, the blood and water, you know, from the side of Christ was kind of that birth where, and it was in that moment at the cross where, you know, our Lord said, you know, woman, behold your son, and son, behold your mother. And it's through that same similar birth through blood and water that you place that baby in those mom's arms. And for the first time, she can behold her child, and child, behold your mother. And to unnecessarily, you know, deny a mother of that moment that is so profound. It's really heartbreaking. What are the key steps that you see to help mothers move from fear to confidence in their next pregnancy?
Yeah. So, just really quick to touch on what you said, I think that that's so beautiful. And one of my big points that I speak to women about is that like birth is spiritual warfare. And this could be like a whole other webcast or whatever, but it's so true, right?
We'll do it.
It's so true. But okay. So what can really help women? Education. Education is so massive because when women understand how their bodies, their hormones, their nervous system, when they understand how those are designed to work, when they understand what's needed to support them, that's going to be what restores trust, not only in the birth process, but in themselves as a woman. That's going to affect, again, fertility. That's going to affect libido. That's going to affect breastfeeding, like all of the different things. So knowledge is truly like that antidote to fear. The next one that's so important and unfortunately not super well utilized or even educated on is trauma-informed care. So this means listening without judgment, listening without trying to fix anything, recognizing the signs of re-traumatization, offering different tools like, again, sort of the nervous system work, bringing safety back to the body, even simple things as like the practitioner leaving the doorway open so that the woman feels like she has somewhere that she can escape to if she needs to, or even that she is asked if it's okay to palpate her belly or before anybody touches her. So little simple things like that are so huge that can really make a woman feel safer and, again, just more in control of what's happening. We touched on earlier the continuity of support, continuity of care. This is really massive because research has shown that women who have continuous support, like a doula or a consistent practitioner, they're 39% less likely to have a C-section. they're 15% more likely to have a spontaneous vaginal birth, right? That's huge. And then obviously, excuse me, obviously
Okay.
faith and mindset is also so important. So we mentioned the spiritual side of this. And so when women invite God into their healing and they're into their preparation, that fear starts to loosen its grip. And again, that's so important.
Yeah, we definitely are going to schedule that other webcast, which will probably be like a 4-hour podcast or something. But yes, the education, I remember the difference and kind of when our, not knowing any better with our first child going to the hospital, and the brief class we got was basically like, here's the instrument we're going to use when this goes wrong with your body, and here's what we're going to do when this process of your body fails and doesn't work. And it was very disheartening, and we left very deflated. Whereas when we went through the midwifery model of care, it was like, okay, if you're going to be my client, you need to be empowered and educated. We took a 12-week class, and it was all about, how we do this together with husband coach childbirth, and like the difference of like, and I remember feeling so empowered and educated. My wife and even me, I was like, it's kind of what sparked even, what's led to me being on this webcast about childbirth all these years later. But For the sake of time, we do need to move on. We'll schedule that other webcast. Do you have any other thoughts or closing insights?
No, I would love to chat more. Sorry about the coughing fit. But yeah, no,
No,
thank you so much for having me. And yeah, it was awesome.
wonderful. Well, thank you. You've illustrated the problem. You've shown the hope that we can create. And that is exactly why Guiding Star exists, to ensure that every mom can experience a safe, supported, and empowering childbirth, which is so critical for her identity throughout the rest of her life. A little later in this webcast, you're going to see how your generosity can directly help these life-changing journeys. But now, building upon what Bridget just shared, president of the Guiding Star Project, Lisa Canning, is going to show us how we take these lessons and empower every mother to thrive, not just survive, through education, mentorship, and community. Lisa Canning, my dear friend, take it away.
Mark, it's always good to be here with you. You say you're an introvert, but like, that's just not true. Like, you're lying. You're really not.
I have to cloister myself away, build up all my energy, and then it all comes out on a webcast, and then I have to close myself away for another week.
Well, we get it, and we appreciate it so much. And I love this conversation because I think it's one, in my time here at Guiding Star, I've heard so many women tell me about, I've had this painful experience, but I don't have the avenue to talk about it. We had one, I remember we did a more of a private Zoom, just kind of community call, and it was one of our most attended calls, and we just called it, we said, we're not going to record it. You are just welcome to come and talk about your painful birth story. And it was one of our most attended live calls, and people just shared. They just shared so vulnerably. And for myself, I've had 11 babies, 12 pregnancies, 11 here on earth. And I've experienced all kinds. I've experienced all kinds of treatment and ignorant.
By the way, my 6 kids, I mean, that's rookie numbers, Lisa. We got to catch up.
You're trying real hard. You're succeeding, but yes. You don't know what you don't know. And this is why I love what Guiding Star has to offer, because there are many people who are walking around with, I'm just going to call it, adequate birth experiences, right, where perhaps like their mom got an epidural, or their friend at work said you should do it exactly like this, get induced, have a scheduled C-section, and then you don't have to worry about anything. And they don't even know to ask the questions because they have no idea what is possible. I discovered a more natural approach just somewhat by accident in my later pregnancies. And I honestly just couldn't believe the difference, how empowered I felt, how much I could feel my body working to this incredible conclusion. And whereas before, I just kind of, I hate to say it, but I was kind of just like going along with the motions. Whereas when I was able to understand, like what Bridget said, what Tammy said, this education, having a trusted healthcare, person coming alongside you and helping you understand your body is good Your body was literally designed to do this. And connecting those dots. And that's what I think Guiding Star does very well. We connect the dots between fertility, breastfeeding, motherhood, and all the things in between for a successful continuity, that continual line that a woman goes through.
Okay, so let's talk more specifically. We've shared a bunch about our experiences, but once a mom walks into a Guiding Star space, a Guiding Star center, how does Guiding Star continue to empower her through her education and support more specifically?
Well, we want to be able to catch a girl as young as age 9 and give her that education. Because when she has education, she begins to understand, I can trust my body. I can trust what my body is doing. So we want to catch her as young as age 9 and help her to understand the changes that are going to be happening, help her to understand that her period is a superpower in our program called the Cycle Show. And we want to be able to walk with her at her various stages. So when she gets her first cycle, when she starts to make the decisions around sexual activity, when, of course, she's pursuing getting pregnant, birth, breastfeeding, and all the way to perimenopause and menopause. And one very, very special thing that has happened, and Guiding Star is very cool because it centers across the United States. So this is not just, in one area, it is a national movement. And we've developed a set of curriculum with input from all over the nation to walk people through these stages. So I'll just pull up an image. I hope you can still hear me. Can you still hear me? Okay, very good.
I can still hear you, yes.
So this is what we call our continuity of care model, this concept of walking with a woman, a young girl as young as age 9, and then all the way through to perimenopause and menopause, giving her that education and that support. And so we do that through 6 core curriculum. Intro to Womanhood, which is designed for moms and for their daughters as they are learning about their cycle. Modern Womanhood, as she's now beginning to understand her fertility, understanding that she can track her cycle, understanding when she is in that ovulation stage. Birth and breastfeeding, thriving in motherhood, which is the one that I contributed to, which is literally how do you now go into this brand new phase of life, which you've never done for the first time, which can be absolutely overwhelming. How can you do that and not just survive, but actually thrive? And then preparing for menopause. So those are our programs that we have. And I'm so excited to share with everybody. Mark your calendar. We are going to be giving to the public. So this has never before been something that we have taught outside of our centers. So if you don't have a Guiding Star center near you, you can join us for what we're calling Guiding Star Education Week, October 21st to the 23rd, where you're going to get a sample of these curriculums. And if you don't have a center near you, it can feel like you have access to this kind of holistic women's healthcare.
I just have to comment real quick because I can speak more recently. We here at our Southwest Center in El Paso launched the Intro to Womanhood program, and my wife and 10-year-old daughter took that class. And I know my wife was kind of dreading, how do I have this conversation? Because she never got that conversation about understanding her cycle and her fertility. And she came home, my wife came home literally in tears and just hugged me and said, thank you. Thank Guiding Star for making this available. She felt like this put our daughter on a path of being excited, of revering her natural superpowers of ovulation, gestation, lactation, and menstruation. She felt like she was like part of this special club. She felt, just so grown up, but it was done so appropriately. But what I also liked is that, it didn't pander to her as like, this little girl that, you're not capable of understanding this. It was, it was very comprehensive, age appropriate. And it was just so beautiful. It was just so amazing. And, all the little girls afterwards were talking about what's their favorite superpower. And it was just so beautiful. And I was thinking, this is how you create a culture of life. This is how you kind of abortion proof, if you will, the next generation. You give them this education about that as our visionary extraordinaire Leah Jacobson has always said, your body is good. Your body is not the problem. You don't have to alter, suppress, or destroy the normal, healthy superpowers of your natural body. And so Lisa, thank you. This is amazing. I know I'm definitely, I have access as a Guiding Star Center to all the curriculums, but I'm going to be sharing this link so everybody can be previewing this. This is really, really huge. We want this to be more widely available and known. So
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mark, for all you're doing.
Thank you. All right, folks, you have heard from some incredible voices tonight. We have saved our big announcement, though. And while our visionary extraordinaire Leah Jacobson was not able to join us live tonight, we do have a very brief special message from her that we're going to play right now.
Hi, I'm Leah Jacobson with the Guiding Star Project. I'm so grateful to be with you tonight, even if only through this video. Tonight, we've been talking about mothers, women who have already experienced the joy and the challenges of parenting, yet still face fear, trauma, and uncertainty in their pregnancies. I want to share something bold and new with you, something that will change that story for moms right here in Tampa. Too many mothers walk into pregnancy with fear and without the support they need. Trauma from a previous birth, lack of guidance, and financial barriers leave far too many women feeling like they can't carry a pregnancy to term safely or confidently. And here's the heartbreaking truth. According to the Guttmacher Institute, over 60% of women who have abortions are already mothers. These are women who have felt the joy of life in their arms, and yet something in the system has failed them. They aren't just making a choice. They're navigating a system that hasn't walked with them through birth, healing, and motherhood. That's why I am so excited to unveil the Guiding Star Hero Fund. This is a donor-funded program designed to walk with moms every step of the way. Prenatal care, childbirth, postpartum support, including breastfeeding and education. And here's the key. All Hero Fund donations will be used right here at Guiding Star Tampa to provide this care directly to moms in need. We expect at least 25% of our patients will require financial assistance. Many women are choosing abortion not only because of past trauma, but simply because they cannot afford to give birth. Without good insurance, birth can be very expensive. But with the Hero Fund, we can remove that barrier entirely. And here's what's so exciting. In most cases, pro-life people never get the chance to directly fund the delivery of a baby. Insurance and hospital systems make that nearly impossible. But through our fiscally sound birth center model, your generosity can literally cover the care and delivery of a baby whose mother might otherwise feel forced into an abortion. We get to offer her a scholarship for a free or a reduced cost birth, ensuring she feels supported and empowered. Think about how tangible this is. You can sponsor a birth in honor of a loved one. You can make it your family's charitable gift for the year. And you'll know with certainty that your gift made the difference for a mother and her child. Because the Hero Fund isn't just about funding birth. It's about transforming motherhood. It's about helping moms heal from trauma, feel confident in their bodies, and step boldly into raising their children with hope and dignity. Tonight, you can be part of this transformation. Thanks to a generous $10,000 matching challenge, every dollar you give will be doubled immediately, expanding the reach of the Hero Fund to help twice as many moms experience empowered births at Guiding Star Tampa. Your gift ensures that when we say choose life, we don't just leave a mother with a choice. We walk with her, support her, celebrate her triumph. Together, we can make sure every mother knows she is a hero and every birth can be a triumph. Please join us in supporting the Hero Fund tonight at Guiding Star Tampa, because the work starts here and the impact lasts a lifetime. Thank you for being part of this life-changing mission.
Woo! Okay, guys, I'm so excited. I don't think anyone realizes how big this is. The actual literal impact you have, something so tangible, is actually helping to pay for the birth of a child. It doesn't get much more real and joyful and authentic and just miraculous is that. I know that this is actually a huge need that we see in Tampa. Tammy, are you still available? Because I know that this is something that you can speak to firsthand and tell us what you're seeing there at Tampa Bay Birth and Wellness and the impact that this is going to have.
Oh my gosh, we are so blessed to be able to offer this to women because, think about it. These women are young. They're impressionable. They don't know what to do. They're scared. My biggest thing, I've always said that women deserve good care regardless of who they are or where they are in life. And it's always just been one of my, just like it's pulled on my heartstrings all the time, is that I feel like, I was one of these women at one point, and to have someone say, listen, we will take care of you. We've got this. We understand that you can't afford this, but we've got you. That's just, it's life changing. It's absolutely life changing. And this is one of the biggest announcements that we could have made in a long time. I'm so happy about the Hero Fund. It's amazing.
This is amazing.
Yes.
This is absolutely.
So
go ahead.
Yes. So this was someone that came to us, and they actually, she said I could tell her story. They had 4 children of their own, and someone in their family needed to relinquish care due to things out of their control of their 4 children. So they were in the process of adopting 4 other children when they found out that they were pregnant. And so she came to me. She was one of my daughter's friends, and she's always been very comfortable with me. And she said, I don't know what we're going to do. We just can't afford this baby. I have no idea what we're going to do. And I asked her if she would write down how she felt when we told her that we would help her through this pregnancy. And she said, when we found out we were pregnant, there was a mix of many emotions all at once. We were overjoyed to add a little one to our family, but anxiety crept in as we began to crunch the numbers. Upon sharing this stressor with the midwifery team at Guiding Star, we were informed that we may qualify for a free reduced rate care plan through the birthing center. I was moved to tears. And she was actually moved to tears. She started crying. She says it was such a blessing to be able to receive prenatal care from a birthing center that we align with in values and also feel genuinely cared for. Because of this program, I get to attend my prenatal visits with my family and experience pure joy and excitement without the additional added burden of financial stressors. And she's one of many, but her reaction, she just really broke down and started crying, and it still touches me to this day because it was so authentic, and she was just like, are you for real? Wow. And it was just amazing. So yeah,
it looks like there's one more here from a sidewalk counselor.
Yep. This one was with a sidewalk counselor. I spoke with a mom outside of an abortion clinic who was 5 weeks pregnant and was contemplating terminating her pregnancy due to lack of insurance and the fear of paying for her birth. When I shared with her that Guiding Star Tampa Bay would be able to help her with free prenatal, birth services, and postpartum care, she canceled her abortion clinic appointment. A life was saved due to the promise of free care. And so that's what we're here to do. We are here to walk the walk, talk the talk, and help these women.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Tammy. I'm kind of at a loss for words, even though I'm like in this work every day. Like this is so game changing. And, there's, so many times it's like, well, we can offer you an ultrasound or, a free pregnancy test, but it's the ongoing prenatal care, the childbirth care, the postpartum struggles. That's what's scary. That's what we need to continue to walk with. So thank you so much, Tammy, for joining us. And I'm excited to share a little bit more with you. This is really what makes Guiding Star centers so unique and different. Yes, there's pregnancy help. but there's so much more. There's prenatal care, and yes, there is support in crisis situations, but there is fertility awareness, and there is lactation consultants, and there is, postpartum doulas, and so much more to walk with you until that little baby girl is ready to come back at 9 years old for her intro to womanhood class and know where she can turn for her care moving forward. This is about multi-generational care. This is not just reaction. This is about prevention, preparation, and partnership. So tonight you've heard the stories, you've seen the model, and now it's time to be a part of this mission. In fact, at Guiding Star Tampa, we've had 19 women give birth in the center, and 40% of those women have requested financial assistance, and they have needed this financial assistance either due to hardship or lack of insurance or loss of employment, sometimes just because they're so traumatized and afraid of pregnancy. And so just with this news, even in these early days, we've had a generous group of donors come forward with a challenge. They are putting together an extraordinary opportunity to double the impact of every gift that you make towards supporting a mom in the midst of going through prenatal care, giving birth to her child, and walking alongside that mom and baby in the most tangible way that you possibly can help a mom to choose childbirth and parenting. Thanks to a generous donor, every dollar that you give to this hero fund to actually help babies be born tonight will be matched up to $10,000. So that means you can make a one-time gift tonight of $100. In fact, the page that you should be on the webcast page, if we pull that up to look at it, do I still, hold on, let me share my screen. I lost my shared screen that I was doing from earlier, but let me go ahead and do the window here. Okay, so here we have, if Lisa, if you're able to pull that up, I think. Here we go. So here is the webcast page that you're looking at. There should be two buttons that have appeared down here. There is a button here to make a one-time gift. And when you click on that button, it's going to take you to donate directly to Guiding Star Tampa Birth and Wellness Center. And again, if you give $100 tonight and click donate with PayPal or donate with credit or debit card, that is going to be double the impact to $200. A gift of $250 is going to be doubled to $500. A gift of $500 will now have the impact of $1,000 of support. And you could even give a gift of $10,000 tonight, and that entire gift would be doubled to a whopping $20,000 to help moms be heroes. Your generosity tonight goes twice as far because we truly believe every mother who walks through Guiding Star Tampa with the Hero Fund there at her side will not only choose life, but she will have the support and the guidance and the empowerment she needs to thrive in motherhood, leave that trauma behind. And when she is now facing a subsequent pregnancy down the road, she's going to be excited and she's going to know exactly where she can go for help. One other thing I do want to mention is that I would also encourage you to prayerfully discern your ongoing support. And so part of the same matching challenge includes not only doubling your one-time gifts, but also doubling the annualized amount of your new monthly pledges and donations. What that means is, and this is amazing how the math works, if you sign up to give $100 a month, which means every month you will be helping another mom with her prenatal care, her child support, birth support, her postpartum support, walk alongside those babies, that if you take that $100, multiply it tonight by 12, that's a $1,200 impact over the next 12 months. That $1,200 will immediately be doubled into an astounding $2,400 of support with just a $100 gift tonight, pledged monthly. So I would encourage you that if you're on that page and you click that donate button, there's an extra tick box there that says make this a monthly donation. And then if you're if you can't do $100 a month, you can say do $50 a month. And I always like to check that extra box to help cover the credit card processing fees. So I know that Guiding Star Tampa gets 100% of my full gift. And then discern making this part of your monthly pledge, because moms we're having babies every single month in our Guiding Star centers, and those moms need help through this Hero Fund. So once again, you will also notice that this matching challenge is only applied for a certain amount of time for the next 7 days between now and midnight, October 8th. And at that point, this matching opportunity ends. So make those gifts over the next 7 days. You will be getting access to a replay of this event that will give you time to share this replay and share the emails, the stories that you've heard, the impact of what why Guiding Star is different with your friends and family. Encourage them to go to helpmomsbeheroes.com to sign up, and they can then be invited to hear this impact, to make that pledge of support as part of this matching challenge. Again, only until midnight, October 8th. If you're not able to give online and you would prefer to mail a donation or make your donation through check, or if you want to make that monthly pledge through your monthly bill pay, which we do, the address is on that page too at Guiding Star Tampa, which is 1900 East Bay Drive, Largo, Florida, zip code 33771. And if you have any questions, you can also, there's an email address on that page to email info@guidingstartampa.org. So again, one-time gifts doubled, monthly gifts annualized and then doubled between now and midnight, October 8th. So please join us. Let's rise together in this moment. Be a hero for a mom tonight. Actually, I would say be a sidekick for a mom tonight, because she is the hero of her story. We want to help that mom be the hero, and you have the chance to be her sidekick, nudge her in the right direction, and give her the support she needs in that critical moment. So give now, double your impact. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our Help Moms Be Heroes webcast for Guiding Star Tampa. Have a very good night, and God bless.